Thank you for joining us on this episode of Best of America by Horseback. I'm your host, Dale Shields, along with my wife, Siobhan. And this week we're taking you to Junction City, Kansas, to the Broken Wing Ranch. They have a ministry here for sex-trafficked women and children at risk. Along with that, the trails here are beautiful, they're diverse, but the owners are just wonderful people. Talk about Karen and Richard for a moment.
They're wonderful people, like you said. A big heart and a lot of compassion.
They sure do, and what they do for people is just tremendous. We hope you'll sit back and watch this episode of Best of America by Horseback. We're excited to have you back with us at Best of America by Horseback. I'm your host, Dale Shields, and this week we're near Junction City, Kansas, at the Broken Wing Ranch. This is a place where ministry and healing happen. It does so through the help of horses and some very compassionate people, Richard and Karen Carr, owners and operators of the Broken Wing Ranch and Broken Wing Ranch Ministry. Today we're near Junction City, Kansas at the Broken Wing Ministry Ranch, and what a wonderful place this is. We're here with Richard and Karen, and guys, this place just oozes tranquility and peace here with what you've done.
Thank you. We have worked very hard to get that to where that's that kind of atmosphere here. So.
Being here this weekend has just brought a sense of relaxation, peacefulness, and you can tell that it's just kind of, as you said, a created situation. Mm-hmm. Everything you've done here, everywhere you turn, you've made something with an appeal for someone to be able to just enjoy being here. And I think that speaks to what you guys do here, which is the ministry that you have. And let's talk about that a little bit.
We do faith-based equine therapy for at-risk youth and women rescued from sex trafficking. And so what we do is basically we've paired with Homestead Ministries, that's one of our partners, and what we do is the women come straight out of trafficking, they're rescued, and then they go straight to drug rehab, and then that first weekend that they're back, they're out here on horseback riding through the Flint Hills and the woods and the creeks, and it's just a very tranquil experience for them to start their healing process.
Yeah. Richard, why does the ranch offer something for these people? What is here that offers the tranquility to them, the healing?
I think anybody that spends time around horses, they understand how therapeutic they can be. They have a gift. A horse has a gift that you can get that I don't think you can get from a dog or anything else, and I think sometimes that is very appealing to some of these people. They come out and maybe they've never experienced it before, but once they experience it, they find out what we're talking about.
The closest you're going to get to God's creation in our area. Beautiful.
Would anybody else believe that this is Kansas from looking at this terrain?
No, I don't even believe it.
Karen, what's some of the biggest changes you see? And I don't want to get real personal, but from the time someone comes here the first time until they've been here a little while and gone through the program, what's the changes you see within them?
A lot of times they learn how to react with their own feelings, because horses mirror your emotions, and it's more of a self-reflective thing, and they see how they're coming off to the horses, to other people, and it kind of helps them gain that introspection and that peacefulness to know that that God got them. And it's just to see them riding out on the ridge lines, and a lot of times you'll see them with their hands up in the air and they're just praising and worshiping because it is so beautiful out here, and that peacefulness just comes over them. But like our kids, it really helps them reflect on how they're coming across body language wise, communication. It increases their confidence and their self-awareness. And it just is it's just powerful to watch our kids and our women grow.
Whose idea was it to start this thing?
It was kind of a collaboration between both of us, but this is kind of one of my babies. I'd always kind of wanted to do something like this, but I was always wanting to retire as a nurse first.
Right.
And God had other plans. And Rick had a lot of experience with like 4-H day and kids coming out to the ranch and, seeing the chickens and the guineas and the cattle and the horses and seeing how that impacted them. And from that aspect, I think God just brought us together with that vision in mind of this is what we were going to do.
Anywhere we go, I think we kind of reflect on our surrounding, and it matters how we feel about where we are. And Rick, you're a stonemason, and this place is just immaculate with stonework.
Yes.
You're very fortunate to have him here to make this place have the appeal that it does. Is that kind of you putting yourself into this thing?
I don't know. I'm the type that likes to try and make things better. And my dad always taught me if you're gonna do it right. And so I don't know. Maybe I'm making it better, maybe I'm not. But
he calls it churching it up. So everything that we have here at the ranch, he's like, well, we got to church that up. Everything from, overheads on the gates to
That's right.
to all the buildings and whatnot. So
some of the structures around here, and you have quite a few that you have refurbished and redone. Those could have been torn down, thrown away, forgotten. Isn't that kind of the same way it is with the lives that y'all are touching, and yet in the same process you are restructuring, rebuilding?
I'd like to comment on that. I think God gives us all a gift, everybody, and it's compassion. And I think so many times we have the choice. We can either use compassion towards others, I think that's what he wants us to do, or we can just kind of ignore it and do everything for ourselves. And I think if he knows you, God knows you, and if you have compassion, he will put people in front of you that need that. And I think that's kind of, he saw us and he saw we had compassion for kids and for people that need maybe a hand up. And so this is all God's deal, and he's made it all come together. So
absolutely.
This is not us, this is him.
We had the pleasure of having Bill and Jan Barkus with us for the weekend from BE Saddle Pads. Bill and Jan have better equine horse products, and it was great having Bill there to be able to do saddle pad fits, help people understand how saddles are to fit, what makes a good fit, and what makes your horse comfortable. And so throughout the weekend, he was available to be able to share with individuals his knowledge and experience in the horsemanship industry. Both Bill and Jan have great expertise in the area of competition and also trail riding. It was super having them on location with us for the weekend. In the grand tradition of Best of America by Horseback, we had our pie judging contest on Friday afternoon before the evening gathering. This event is always a highlight for everyone. We enjoy pie, and it's always fun to see those who bring their best recipes and are ready to join in to this grand tradition. Both men and women have become so creative in putting together beautiful pies that taste terrific. Pam Schmidt was the winner of this pie contest at the Broken Wing Ranch. What a joy to have Pam and her pies.
This is Best of America by Horseback. You're at Broken Wing Ranch Ministries.
I want to talk a little bit about the trails. You guys have worked very hard to create good trails, safe trails, trails that have a lot to appreciate along the creeks, on the ridge tops. There's so much variety here. Talk about a few of your favorite trails.
We have a cliffline trail, which is just absolutely gorgeous. You're on probably about a 100-foot cliff wall,
About 100 foot.
and you get to look down on the creek that's winding below, and all the trees, it's shaded. It's just absolutely beautiful. It's very scenic and serene. It's just one of my favorites. And then also we have along the Big Creek where you get to ride along the waterfall, and it's running various different heights in the throughout the year.
Right.
But it's hard to describe because it's just so beautiful. I have to give all the credit for the trail to this guy right here because because he takes the skid steer in places that I would have a heart attack. And so I couldn't imagine being on that cliff wall and not being able to see out the side of the skid steer.
From that to the prairies, you know, it just changes. Y'all have, this is a working ranch, and so you have the cattle that we had the opportunity to ride through yesterday.
Yes.
And met Reuben, the donkey. And so as people ride here, you go from one thing to another, and there's a lot to experience. How does that interact in your ministry? Do you use that change to help your folks see the changes of life?
Well, and it also helps them see that changes, that there's highs and lows, and there's beautiful in every aspect of it. And one of the cool things that I think is they also see that changing seasons. And it's so beautiful here throughout all the different seasons. And there's something to appreciate about absolutely everyday life.
Yep.
And I really like to impact them. And it's just beautiful to see and watch the expressions of all the ladies and the kids. And it probably it's more of an impact on me than, I don't know, even at them, because I get as much out of it as probably they do.
You're watching Best of America by Horseback. Stay tuned and we'll be right back. So Bonnie, you were the winner of our drawing from Equifest for the Best of America Free Ride. And you're here, and Wendy, your daughter, got to come with you.
Right.
What's it like for you being out here today?
Oh, awesome. It's so beautiful and the weather's perfect. So I've really enjoyed this ride. And I've never rode this part of the country before, so this is quite an adventure.
Wendy, you get to ride with your mother from time to time. What's it like being able to spend this time with her?
I keep thinking this may be our last ride, but she's 80 and I'm almost 60, so I'm having trouble keeping up with her. So,
Yeah.
Great mother-daughter time.
As we rode on the car ranch for 2 days, the 5,000-acre ranch just continued to have everyone in awe. Around every bend there was a new scene, something new to see, something different. Everyone just rode along in amazement, not believing that they were still in Kansas. What beautiful scenery there was in this part of Kansas in early spring. The grasses were green, the flowers were blooming, the birds were singing. What a wonderful time this was to be on horseback and enjoying God's creation. As we traveled across the ranch, Siobhan was very impressed by the stone fences. She asked Richard to talk about that.
There's a lot of stone fences on this place, and it's when they homesteaded, they didn't have the barbed wire. They didn't have. They was very limited on what they could build a fence out of, but they did have rock, as you know from riding this place. There's rock everywhere,
Right.
And so they used the rock, and they built up a lot of stone fences, and they're not in the shape they was when they was first made, but they're still there. You can still see where they was.
Yeah. And something that impressed me, impressed Siobhan, was the cattle loading chute that you'd fixed up some years back.
Well, the reason it's made out of brick and stone and concrete is I've built previous ones, 3 or 4 out of wood, and they'd all rot. And I said I wasn't doing that again. So I finally built one out of stone, and it's gonna outlast me, and it'll probably outlast a lot of people after me. So.
Yeah, not just every cow can say they've gone up a loading chute that nice.
We get a lot of comments on the loading chute.
Visitors at the Carr Ranch don't have to look very far or stay very long to see that Richard and Karen are both visionaries, and they have a way of making people feel welcome. From shaded patios to playhouses to fire pits to arenas, there are many things for people to do and to enjoy while visiting the Carr Ranch. We had a tremendous time on the trails the last 2 days. You girls did so good with your horses, and both of you had kind of new horses, but you did so well. Beth, talk real quickly about your horse and how you did on the trails.
My horse is a Mustang, and I just adopted him from the Hutchinson Correctional Facility, and he did absolutely amazing. I am just so thrilled with him. For a 4-year-old horse and being a Mustang, I didn't know what to expect, and he did so good.
He did amazing, and it shows that you have done a lot of work with him. Your confidence level was high. You did super going on all the different terrains, and you trusted each other, and it showed.
Thank you.
And that speaks volumes. Jackie, your horse too, you haven't had that long.
No, I just got him in the fall from a rescue. And this is the first big thing I've had him out on, and he was amazing.
What are you taking home with you this weekend?
I am going home refreshed. I share my horses with kids like Karen does, and it was nice, and I love it. I'm very blessed to be able to do it, but it's also nice to just get away with my horses by myself and get mentally prepared and spiritually prepared to share them all summer.
How much fun did y'all have this weekend?
Oh my gosh, we had so much fun. Thank you.
Good to hear.
Best time.
Glad to have y'all with us.
Thank you for watching Best of America by Horseback at the Broken Wing Ranch. This was a terrific weekend.
It sure was. Richard and Karen Carr are amazing people with a lot of compassion. They do a lot of good for a lot of people. We learned this weekend so much about what they do, helping sex-trafficked women and children at risk. And this ranch just offers so much tranquility, peacefulness to people who come here. We thank you for watching this episode. We'd love to have you come and join us on one of our locations. To do so, you can find out where we're going to be by looking at our website, www.bestofamericabyhorseback.com. Give us a call at 620-433-1819. Watch what we're doing on our Facebook page, and you can see past episodes on our YouTube channel. We'd love to have you come and join us. Until you do, always ride the high trail.